Central Asian history is filled with examples of invasion, wealth, and poverty. Today we see those lasting influences in the people of this region. Kazakhstan was the first part of Central Asia to be conquered by Russia, and as a result, Russian influences are much stronger in that country today. Today we see about 1/3 of Kazakhstan's people as ethnic Russians, and Russian and the Kazakh language are both official. Many ethnic Kazakhs grew up speaking Russian at home and have learned Kazakh in school. Kazakhstan's economy was once tied to the former Soviet Union. It was based on manufacturing. When the Soviet Union collapsed, that meant the economy of Kazakhstan also suffered. Due to its valuable resources, however, such as oil, and a quick adaptation to the free market, Kazakhstan's economy is now growing steadily. The country is one of the richest in Central Asia. Kazakhstan also has one of the more stable governments in the region. The country is a democratic republic with an elected president and a parliament. In 1998, they also moved their capital closer to Russia so that they could have closer ties with their former ally. In fact, Kazakhstan is also home to the Russian space program. In Kyrgyzstan, the word Kyrgyz means 40 clans. Throughout history, that membership in one of those 40 clans has been an important part of Kyrgyzstan's political, social, and economic life. Many people still follow those nomadic traditions of the early clans. Many other people are farmers. Fertile soil there allows for a mix of irrigated crops and dryland farming. Dryland farming relies on rainfall instead of irrigation. Farming is the most important industry in Kyrgyzstan. However, it does not provide much income for that country. Although the standard of living in Kyrgyzstan is really low, the economy shows signs of strengthening. The country of Tajikistan, like other countries in Central Asia, are struggling to overcome its history of problems. Despite fighting throughout the early and mid-1990s, a peace treaty was signed in 1997. As a result, Tajikistan became a republic with an elected president. Years of civil war damaged Tajikistan's economy. Both industrial and agricultural production have been in decline for years. Even with the decline in agricultural production, Tajikistan still relies on cotton farming for much of its income. But only 5 to 6% of the country's land is actually arable or suitable for growing crops. Lack of arable land and a reliance on farming make progress in Tajikistan highly unlikely. The country of Turkmenistan is run by a cult of personality. What this means is that the leader of the country has built up his power in his own image. Turkmenistan's president holds all the power in the country. It was actually voted in by the parliament that he would be president for life. He's used his power for bizarre things, such as naming a month of the year after himself and putting his face on almost every public building in Turkmenistan. The Turkmen government supports Islam and has ordered that schools teach Islamic principles to students. But it views Islam with caution. It does not want Islam to become a political movement, and thus Sharia law is not the law of the land. Its economy is based on oil, gas, and cotton. Although the country is a desert, about half of it is planted with cotton fields. Farming is possible because Turkmenistan has the longest irrigation channel in the world, a remnant of Soviet rule. As in Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan's government has an elected president who holds all the power in the country. The United States and other countries have criticized the political freedoms within Uzbekistan. Yet, Uzbekistan has the largest population of Central Asian countries. It has the two largest cities of the region too. Two cities, Bukhara and Samarkand, are famous for their mosques and monuments. The government also closely controls the economy. Uzbekistan's economy is based on oil, gold, and cotton, and it's fairly stable, even though it is growing only very slowly. As you've heard, the countries of this region have similar issues and challenges. Among these are environmental, economical, and political challenges. One of the most serious environmental problems is the shrinking of the Aral Sea. Winds swept the dry seafloor and blow dust and salt and pesticides hundreds of miles. Also, towns that once relied on fishing are now dozens of miles from shore. Another problem is the damage caused by the Soviet Union and their military practices. The Soviets tested nuclear bombs in Central Asia. Now people there suffer health issues such as radiation poisoning. Lastly, the overuse of chemicals to increase crop production in this barely arable land has ruined some farmlands. Instead of increasing crop production, the chemicals have actually hurt the farmlands and the economy. Economically speaking, most of Central Asia is poor. This is because of its over-reliance on cotton production. Farmland that is suitable is very limited, and so employment in the cotton industry is also limited. The focus on cotton has not encouraged countries to develop into manufacturing. In some countries that have oil and gas reserves might someday be rich, but for now they have outdated equipment, a lack of funds, and they have poor transportation options for getting the oil out of Central Asia. Finally, political stability is lacking in Central Asia. In some countries, such as Kyrgyzstan, people do not agree on the best kind of government. People who are dissatisfied with their government sometimes turn to violence. These countries today are often faced with political turmoil that could limit the development of their nation. Central Asia is recovering from a history of foreign invasion and rule. The region is struggling to develop a sound economic and governmental process that will lead their region to more wealth and stability.